share this training on the unique brand strategies to stand out and dominate your niche. And what I'm going to be sharing about today is exactly what I've implemented in my own business, and it's also what I help my clients with. And the strategies that I'm going to be talking about today, it's never too late to implement these, right? And they will make a difference to your business. They will help you to stand out and to really kind of shine a spotlight on your own brilliance as well. Because let's face it, the coaching industry is getting quite saturated. It's getting crowded, and we need to find different ways to stand out. So this is super helpful, and it will help you to attract high quality prospects and obviously convert these prospects into clients as well, right? Which is what we all want in order to have a successful business. So before I get stuck into the training, for those of you who are new to my world, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Anne Ryan. I'm a business mentor and a money mindset coach. I live in Melbourne, Australia, and I help my clients who are all over the world and tend to be coaches and consultants and course creators to package and position their value into a high ticket offer. So often they just need a couple of sales a month to earn a six-figure income, right? And if you follow the strategies and principles that I teach, it is entirely possible to build a multiple six-figure business working under 4 hours most days, right? And we do this by keeping business simple, right? And but of course that's not specifically what this training is about. This training is more about branding and all the things. This training is about how to position yourself in the most powerful way so you become the obvious, right, and only choice for your prospects, because isn't that what we all want? What I'd love to know in the comments is, do you feel like you already have that now? Do you feel like you stand out? Do you feel like you are in a category of one, that you are well known in your niche? Let me know. Let me know if you feel that, or whether you feel like you do sound a little bit like most other coaches out there who are offering similar services to you, obviously. Let me know. And there's no judgment, right? But this is kind of like the starting point from which you can actually. So positioning Gorgeous Lady is not about being necessarily better, but about being different, right? Creating a point of difference. We want to create our own kind of thing, so there is little to no other options for our prospects when they come to making that buying decision, right? That we become the obvious choice. Yeah. Now, firstly, we need to know them to understand, right, what it is that they actually want. We need to understand them and what they're going through and what problems they have and how we can solve these problems for them, right? As coaches, that's what we're here to do, right? And also to help them to achieve what it is that they truly desire. Yeah, because it's not just about the problem, but often if they don't have what they desire, it's because there's something that's stopping them. Yeah? And we really need to understand what that something is. And then we want our prospects to see how our solution is the right solution for them, and it is a different solution, right? It's more effective than anything else that they may have even tried before, perhaps, that's already on the market. And finally, we want them to feel like who we are and what we do is perfect. It's perfect to take them from where they are to where they actually want to be. Is this making sense? So the question is, how do we actually do this? Yeah, and I'm going to be sharing my strategies, exactly what I do, what I teach my clients to do as well, in order to achieve this. So you may want to grab a pen and paper because I'm going to be sharing more than one thing, but otherwise you can come back and catch the replay again and take your own notes when you're ready. The first strategy is, and this is going to sound simple, I always say this is going to sound simple, but it is, right? Get crystal clear on your niche. Yeah. Who it is that you are actually speaking. We want to become known for helping a very specific person to solve a very specific problem and achieve their desired outcome, right? So this is going to sound really basic, but you might need to hear this one more time, because I know you've heard this before. Yet this is the thing that's possibly the gap, right? The unique person is your ideal client. And the more you know them and the more you know about them, the better. Yeah. And the problem, what is the problem that they want to solve, right? And is it the problem that you solve for your clients? Is there a match? The more you understand their challenges, their fears, their desires, etc., the more you are going to stand out for them when they're scrolling through social media, seeing coach after coach after coach sharing, similar men, and you're going to stand out and they're going to think, she gets me. She's offering exactly what it is that I want. Yeah. And that is not possible if you don't know who they are and if you're not talking to a very specific person, right? And what is your promise? What will your client's life look like if they buy your solution? What is your promise, right? You have to know what they really want, because wishy-washy and vague is the fastest path to not being successful, right? People just don't buy wishy-washy and vague. They want to know specific. The most important thing here is you can't decide what they want. You actually have to find out and speak to them in a language that they would use, that they would understand, that they would completely resonate with as well. And the better you understand your person, their problem, and your promise, the more clearly your ideal clients can identify themselves as being the best fit. Yeah. So I speak to so many coaches all the time who say, but I can help. Yeah, I know. A lot of us can. As a business coach, I can help many businesses. My offline business and my online business are so different, right? They're very different. In the corporate world, I worked with many businesses, like huge corporations. I worked across the airline industry. I worked in the health sector. I worked in kind of power and electricity, and I worked in telecommunications. I worked across so many different industries, right? And I helped them with business strategy. And then I started my business offline in the construction industry, and I've started my business, online as a business coach, and I've niched into working with coaches. Not because I can't help all those other businesses, but because I needed to get really specific, and it made sense for me. It just kind of naturally happened, quite honestly, that more and more coaches were drawn to work with me because they kind of wanted someone who was a few steps ahead. And that's how I've ended up where I am today. So we need to get really, really specific. And the broader and wishy-washy and vague we are, the less likely we are to attract our ideal people. And I know this is business 101, this is basic stuff, yet this is like, when I scroll through social media, this is the biggest issue that I see. It's all so wishy-washy and vague. You could be talking to absolutely anyone. And this is honestly, this is the thing that a past client of mine, Hayley, who's shared testimonials in, did. This is the one thing, the core thing that she did to change her business from, and she was already making money, right? She was already making money, but she could not figure out how to scale. And this was the one thing that in order to scale her, yeah. And she went from having 10, 15K months to having, her first 100K month within about. So sometimes we need to hear the business 101 and remind ourselves that it is really, really important, yeah. The broader and vaguer we are, the harder it is for us to stand out. But you've got a pretty, you're pretty niched, right, in that kind of witch space. And so, I hope I haven't got you mixed up with someone else. No, I'm pretty sure that's you. So that, at least you know who you're speaking to, but are you really clear on your promise? Are you really clear on the problem that you're solving? Yeah, on why someone should actually work with you. Perhaps you're clear on who you're speaking to and what it is that they're kind of interested in. But yeah, then there's the other parts too. The next strategy that I want to talk about is creating a unique mechanism or method for yourself, right? This is the method that you use to help your client. This, especially if you are in a more saturated niche, a niche where there are lots of other people, yeah, then this is even more important, right? The unique way you do things needs to be new or very different, right? It can't just be a better way of doing something, because if people have tried something and it didn't work, they're not necessarily going to want a better way. They're just going to want a different way or a new way. Yeah. So, because a new way gives them hope, and that's what they're looking for. Ladies, our prospects, future clients, they have a problem. They want help, right? And if we can just demonstrate to them that we have the answer, that we have the solution, and even though they may have tried other things, because let's face it, the coaching industry now, it has been around for long enough, right? Many of our prospects have tried. They've potentially worked with other coaches and potentially they didn't get the result that they wanted, yeah. And so now they're getting more and more skeptical as well, right? Because they're like, well, I invested and it didn't work, so why is it going to work out? And we need to be really clear on that. We need to recognize that and understand that, and therefore cater for that, right? And if we can demonstrate that we have a new or a very different way of achieving a particular result that they want, then that is going to carry a lot. And an example that I like to use when I talk about this particular aspect is, to look at the weight loss industry, because the weight loss industry, has been around for a long time now. And when it originally started, it was probably something like eat less and exercise more was a perfectly appropriate message to put out there, yeah. And people just kind of went, okay, so that's what I have to do. I've got to eat less and exercise more, and and then you could work with a coach to help you with that. But that doesn't cut it, because people have tried that. People have tried eating less and exercising more, and they failed, and they've even invested and they've failed, and so now they're looking for something different, right? Something different to get fit, something newer, a newer way to lose weight, to get their bikini body ready for summer, right? And so we evolved to calorie counting, and I don't know in what order these things came out, right? But I'm just kind of sharing all the different kind of methods. There was calorie counting, like Weight Watchers, calorie counting, and then there was, high protein, and then there was Atkins, and then keto, and low carbs and no carbs and, you know, no sugar diets. And then, you know, there was intermittent fasting, and there was lots of different variations of all of those things. Yeah. And they were the variations that I'm referring to is where they brought a different angle to the same solution, right? So like intermittent fasting went from, you know, fasting for 2 days and out of 7 to, you know, fasting for 12 hours out of 24, or fasting for 16 hours and eating for 8, and, you know, all these different variations started to be introduced. Yeah, you've noticed that, right? And that's to give people hope that what didn't work before doesn't mean that nothing worked. It means that, you know, they just need to try something different, and this is the new way. And this is now the latest thing I'm sure you've all seen is like, you know, if you are between 20 and 30, then this is the solution. If you are between 50 and 60, then this is the solution. And they're bringing in, like, the weight loss industry has been now kind of divided into like age brackets. Yeah. And this is all to create a point of difference to help them to stand out. Is this making sense? So, do you have a unique method? Do you have a unique way so that people who tried other things are going to turn to you because your way is different? Let me know. Because honestly, this is the thing that sets us apart, right? This is what's going to really help us to stand out. And my client Sarah, who I've just shared, you know, closed $180,000 in sales in her first 2 months. This was the one shift that she made, and she went all in and completely has owned. This is huge. This is what we teach in paid programs, right? It's just that obviously you've got to kind of now take this information and figure this out for yourself. The coaching, I say this all the time at the risk of losing business myself. No one needs a coach, right? No one needs a coach. There is so much free information. Come into this Facebook group, there's so much free information. Go anywhere on the internet, go into Google, go into YouTube, go into Pinterest, go into every other Facebook group on the planet. Everywhere, Instagram, all the places, and there is an abundance of information, right? But then you've got to apply it to your own business, yeah? And that's when we can sometimes get a little bit confused, yeah? And sometimes we have our own blind spots, and this is why people invest in working with coaches. And so there's a reason that I continue to work with coaches. It's not because I don't know what I'm doing. It's because I have my own blind spots. Yeah. And so it is something that's worth considering, right? And if we're not practicing what we're preaching, then obviously that's not going to help our business. So this is kind of truly like a big shift that a lot of my clients have when they start working with me, that they create something that really helps them to stand out. So moving on, because I'm mindful of time, the third thing that is really helpful to set you apart, to be different, right? Because that's what this is all about. How can we stand out? How can we, you know, dominate our little space of this industry and really kind of be seen as the person, yeah, with the thing and ability to solve the problem. So this is to do with your offer, and I'm not going to go into creating offers because I've covered that in other trainings, but this is specifically around your pricing and any kind of guarantee there. The clearer your positioning and the more focused your offer is, yeah, no wishy-washy and vague, like I said before, the more you can charge. Most of your competitors will likely charge around the same price. If you look around, you know, everyone's kind of roughly charging around the same price. So the key is obviously to remove yourself from that crowded space, wherever it is, in the low ticket, the mid ticket, the high ticket, right? There's a particular price point where everybody's at, and set yourself apart. The more you charge, the more you create a new, unique category and space for yourself. It's yours for the taking, And the better you can serve your ideal clients, obviously, then the more you can hold that. So let me give you an example of this, and I've shared this before in previous trainings as well, because this is, again, a really cool part of it. So say someone was selling just sales training. Let's call it sales training. Sales training for business. They could charge $197. But if it's sales training for specifically coaches, let's say, they could charge probably $997. I'm just making up these numbers, but kind of explaining the difference between generic sales training compared to sales training specifically for coaches. Now, if I said I had some sales training specifically for health coaches, because the way you sell health coaching is different to how you sell life coaching or business coaching, and I positioned it as very specifically for health coaches, I could probably charge $1,997 for that training. Now, say I then went even more specific, and I said this sales training is for health coaches only. It's not for all coaches, it's for health coaches only, and for health coaches who want to grow a business without any Facebook ads, without any DMs, and without getting on sales, right? No ads, no messaging, no sales. Now suddenly that sales training for health coaches has become even more valuable, because it's even there, and you could probably charge $4,909. Again, I am making up the number, but are you getting the more specific you can get, the more clear you are on your promise and who you help and how you help them and what you can do for them, the more you can charge. So when you now reflect on your own offer and pricing, how specific is it? Is it unique? Does it sound like something that no one else is offering, or does it sound like a pretty kind of, you could get more specific, you could clarify what Faster is, you could get more specific on exactly who it is that you're helping with this intuitive health readings, and it could be a particular age group of people, or it could be a particular kind of, they work, they're in corporates, or they're entrepreneurs, or whatever it is. There could be nurses who are doing night shift. The more specific we can get, the more we can grab. And when it comes to guarantees, now I know the number one fear that people have is, and the number one fear that coaches have is, well, how can I can't guarantee. What if they don't do the work? Well, obviously you can't guarantee a result if someone doesn't do the work, right? But if we want to separate ourselves, then something like a guarantee, when no one else is offering, immediately sets us apart. Because most of our competitors are not taking that risk, and they put all the risk on the client, right? It's like there's no guarantee. And by having a guarantee, you're positioning yourself as someone who's more trustworthy, someone who's willing to take the risk. And it can be a calculated risk. It can be it doesn't have to be like a money back guarantee. It can be a different type of guarantee. And that immediately sets you apart, because not many people are doing. So something to think about. And I've done a whole training on high converting offers, and gone into this sort of in a lot more detail on that. So if you haven't yet seen that training, drop a hashtag high ticket and we'll get that training across to you. But I think most of you may have seen it by now because we offer it as a wealth group. Food for thought. It just gives people peace of mind, right? And it gives people that kind of next level of trust, because let's face it, everyone has fear around making investments and that kind of thing. All right. So moving on, let's talk about your personality, who you are, right? People don't buy just what you sell. They buy who you are. When it comes to coaches, or when it comes to coaching, it's not just the coaching that they're buying kind of the coach, they're investing in the coach. It's you, right? It's your energy, it's who you are. And the goal here is to let people to really get to know you, to like you, and to trust you. Yeah, we've heard this, marketing 101, know you, like you, trust, right? And it's good for people to see as much of you as you're comfortable to share. Yeah. And this is especially important, I think, on social media, because social media is a social platform. Yeah. It's actually not intended as a sales platform. It's a social platform. And so if we're not kind of really understanding that and leveraging the social side of social media, then we'll just be seen as spammers or salespeople or whatever it is, and it's not going to help us to grow up. So some ways to bring in your personality and to be remembered, be really visible, and to stand out is to get really opinionated about what you stand for, and what you believe in, who you are, and all those sorts of things, right? And be okay to be polarizing. Be okay with that, because the more we blend and the more we sound like everybody else, the harder it's going to be for us to stand out, right? And a common mistake people make is to think that because someone else's success, copying what they're doing is what's going to make them successful. And it doesn't, because that doesn't necessarily set them apart. And if they're copying what somebody else is doing, then why wouldn't everyone go and work with the someone else anyway, because they were doing it first? Yeah. So what makes someone successful is who they're being, and how authentic that they are, and what their beliefs are, and what their values are, and and how they show up, and their energy, and all that kind of thing, right? And so this is something I really highly encourage you to consider. Are people seeing all of you? Is it easy for your prospects to get to know you, like you, and trust you? Are you kind of really showing up and being opinionated and sharing your truth, being vulnerable at times, and doing what's necessary for people to really get to know you, because that's what's going to help you to stand out, right? And playing safe and blending and worrying about what people will think, fearing being judged and playing small and all of that, right? It just doesn't help at all. We've got to be to be judged. In fact, I make a joke about this, but it's like you've got to go out of your way to be judged. You want to be judged, because when we are judged, we are remembered. When we are judged, we are, right? People may not remember everything that you say or that you did, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Whether it's a good feeling or a bad feeling, they will remember how you made them feel. Yeah. If we are not being judged, we are not being remembered. True story. Think about it. How many people have you scrolled on past on social media today already because they didn't capture you? They they didn't strike a chord for you, right? They didn't kind of leave a memorable imprint on your heart or on your head, on your mind, for you to actually remember who they are. The final strategy that I want to leave you with today, and this is really the icing on the cake, and that is social proof. Social proof is so important in order to stand out, yeah, and in order to be seen as an authority and to really kind of dominate your space. People want to know that what you promise to do, you can actually do. And I know this is a little bit tricky when you're first starting out, but this is really important. And before we use but I'm just starting out, everybody started with nothing, right? With no clients, no social proof, no testimonials, all the things. So that's not an excuse, but this is an important aspect, right? They want to know it works. And when you've got social proof, that really helps. So one of the best ways you can create a sense of trust is to share stories of happy clients, everything from, whether it's screenshots of messenger conversations or interviews like I do with my clients, or testimonials or case studies or any of those sorts of things, right? Because it really, really helps to position you as not just talking the talk, but actually having social proof, yeah? And in addition to social proof, sharing kind of numbers, right? Data can be a really great way of also adding to how powerful your work. So I say things like 70% of my clients get their ROI in 30 days. Now, I say that because it's the truth, and I also say that because it's incredibly impressive, yeah? And so if you can bring in social proof and data and numbers and really kind of make it tangible of what's possible when people work with you, then you are creating a real positioning for yourself as being in a category of one, yeah? Because not everyone is able to do that. Not everyone. So I'd love to know, are you doing this? Are you leveraging your social proof? Do you remember to ask your clients for testimonials or case studies, or do you interview them? Are you showcasing them? Are you writing about them? Are you talking about them in your content? Because this is super, super important. So yeah, that is impressive, of course. And that's why I do it. Look, I'm being really transparent. That's why I do it, yeah. And another impressive statistic that I have about my business, and coincidentally, it is also 70%. 70% of my clients have only been in my world for 5 days. They've only followed me closely for 5 days, yeah, before they became a client. They made really fast decisions. And it's a really interesting statistic, right? So when I can say that I can help you go from cold to sold fast, I'm talking from personal experience, because I know what it takes to get someone to become a client within 5 days. And I've experienced that with 70% of my clients. Yeah. And so all of this adds kind of a next level of trust and authority to our work when we're able to share data like that. When we're able, and obviously it's for our advantage, right? That's the strategy. If you want to build a simple, scalable and sustainable business that you absolutely love, and you want to reach multiple 6 figures without hustling, working less than 4 hours most days, because that's exactly what I teach, that's exactly what I practice, that's exactly what I stand for, right? I'm enrolling for my 12-month resolution 6 mastermind. And if you have any questions at all, let me know. Send me a DM or drop a hashtag support if you want to explore what working with me actually looks like. It's a 12-month container. It's a 12-month mastermind that I offer, and so many people come and say to me, not so many, but I have a few people say to me, oh, why is it 12 months? Is it possible to work for less? I don't know if I really want to commit for 12 months. And I have a standard response. You don't have to commit for 12 months, but it is a 12-month container. You have to commit to paying for the 12 months. But if you get all the results that you want in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and you want to move on and do other things, that is perfectly okay. But I'm still holding that space for you and offering support for 12 months, right? It's about the result and the outcome that I deliver as opposed to the time of the container, yeah? And so I offer an ROI guarantee, and like I said before, 70% of my clients get their ROI within days, right? And we just focus on 3 core areas, yeah? And this is how we keep business simple. We focus on 3 core areas. Whether you already have an offer or not, right? We look at how to make that offer so good that it practically sells itself. The second thing that we look at is how to accelerate your authority so you can take prospects from cold to sold fast. Like I said, 70% of my clients make a buying decision within 5 days. There's a strategy to that. And the third thing that we look at is implementing a predictable organic client attraction system, yeah, so you can keep bringing in more income month after month in a really predictable way. So that's it, right? We focus on those 3 areas and create so much expansiveness and space in your calendar, yeah. And this works incredibly well for businesses who are already at kind of that capacity stage, and kind of hustling and working with lots of clients, because we can massively simplify doing so you can, reach those 100K months without burning out. Because the way some people grow their business is a surefire way burnout, right? So, and I've helped clients who are at 0 get to 10K months, and I've helped clients who are at 10K months get to 100K months, yeah? So if you'd like to explore what working with me looks like, I'd be honored to have a conversation with you. Drop a hashtag support below or send me a private message. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I look forward to catching you all on the internet soon. Bye.